You're watching ABC 7 News at 4, starting with First Alert Weather.
Good afternoon. I'm Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Thanks for joining us here at ABC 7 News at 4. It's Friday finally, and the weekend is here, and we are looking at a bit of a change to our forecast compared to yesterday at this time. We're going to get a little bit more rainfall on Saturday now as well. Now, this low pressure area that you see over the Carolina coast, that's going to head to the northeast, but a little line of low pressure is left behind. That high pressure just off the western tip of Cuba is going to create a strong wind pattern and a pretty tight pressure gradient, which will bring some windy weather our way. We're talking not extreme, but enough to cause some rip currents, and that's going to be the big problem for beachgoers, I think, over the weekend. On top of that, showers and thunderstorms continue to roll in, especially to the north of us. That's where the heaviest rain has been falling and will continue to do so overnight and tomorrow, but we'll still get our fair share of showers and storms. You can see some already approaching the coast into Anna Maria Island as well as into Siesta Key just offshore. They're moving at a pretty good clip too at 15 to 20 miles an hour. You can see some rainfall now, also pretty heavy to the north of us. All this associated with a system that is going to be working its way down into the Gulf of Mexico over the next couple of days and keep our rain chances fairly high right through early next week. Well, much more on that coming up in a few minutes. Jacqueline, Adam?
All right, thank you, Bob. We begin tonight in Englewood, where a woman is facing animal cruelty charges.
Animal control officers say this woman, Tammy Ewing, beat her dog to death using a crowbar. ABC 7's Erica Jackson joins us live from Charlotte County to share what the suspect admitted to officers. Erica?
Jacqueline, Adam, good evening. Officers say Tammy Ewing admitted to killing her dog in her own backyard. She says the dog was suffering from a torn ACL, but taking the dog to get to the vet to get euthanized would have been too traumatic. So she took matters into her own hands, admitting to overdosing the dog Sophie on barbiturates and Tylenol PM. But Sophie was still breathing the next morning, so she beat the dog to death using a crowbar in her backyard. The results of a necropsy were consistent of the dog getting beaten to death. Ewing is now charged with causing cruel death, pain, and suffering to an animal. One neighbor says Ewing confided in her months ago, admitting to the killing, and we'll have her story coming up tonight at 6 p.m. Reporting live in Englewood, Erica Jackson, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
Erica, thank you. We're learning more tonight about the moments leading up to a major delay for commuters this morning. Take a look at these new photos just into our newsroom. They were sent in by viewer Laura Simmons, who got even closer than our own ABC 7 cameras did. They show a semi-truck dangling off the overpass near the US 301 exit in Ellington. The incident closed all northbound lanes for nearly 2 hours as rescue crews worked to bring that semi back onto the bridge. Troopers say the driver, Sarasota man Troy Betts, was traveling northbound in the center lane on that bridge. That's when a car changed lanes suddenly and Betts lost control trying to avoid a crash. Luckily, he was able to get out safely. And not too far from where that crash took place, a separate alert for drivers who use Ellington-Gillette Road. A water main break at that roadway has forced officials there to close down a portion of the roadway and detour drivers. The closure is between 17th Street East and 21st Street Court East. There's no word on just how long that roadway will be closed while that break is being fixed. Well, Adam joins us now with a dream vacation turned tragedy. A duck boat full of tourists capsizing in rough waters in Missouri. Adam, what's the latest on this story?
Well, Jacqueline, at least 17 people are dead and 4 more still missing after a fun trip out on the water turned deadly. Rough water capsizing a boat full of tourists in Branson, Missouri, as a severe thunderstorm rolled in overnight. A popular tourist attraction, the boat takes passengers on land and sea into the waters of Table Rock Lake. There were 31 people on that duck boat, some of them children. During the accident, 2 people watched as that boat went down and say the bad weather came on fast and furious.
The wind really picked up bad and debris was flying everywhere and just the waves were really rough. So it was just suddenly and out of nowhere.
The president of the company, which owns Ride the Ducks, says it has an impeccable safety history over the past 47 years. Investigators are taking a closer look at the weather conditions that day, as well as the construction of the boat. Well, it will soon be legal to post plans for 3D printable guns online. The government has reached an agreement with a gun rights activist that will allow those plans to be posted starting on August 1st. Back in 2013, Cody Wilson posted plans for a 3D printable gun, and the government ordered it be removed, arguing those plans could violate international traffic in arms regulations. Wilson complied but sued the federal government in 2015. Now he will soon be able to repost those schematics for what he calls the Liberator, a gun made almost entirely out of ABS plastic, the same material used to make Lego bricks. Well, days before the start of training camp, the Miami Dolphins have released new rules regarding player behavior during the national anthem. A proper anthem conduct clause will now be added to players' contracts. Earlier this year, the NFL decided teams would be fined if players did not stand during the Star-Spangled Banner before games, and those who wish to protest must remain in the locker room. Protesting on the field can now lead to fines or even suspension. Well, let's send it back to Jacqueline now with more on a controversial change at Florida State University. Jacqueline.
Adam, after almost a year of debate, Florida State University now has one less statue at its front gates. Overnight on Wednesday, crews removed the statue of Francis Epps, the school's founder and former slave owner. A controversial move, as critics have cited Epps' past as a slave owner as a reason that he should not have a statue in such a prominent location on campus. Supporters of keeping the statue where it was argued that while Epps was flawed, he had a profound impact on the founding of the school. Some good news for patients trying to get a license for medical marijuana. This week, a legislative panel approved $13 million to help pay for issuing new licenses and covering the costs of ongoing litigation. The funding boost comes less than a month after the start of the 2018-2019 fiscal year and reflects criticism that the Florida Department of Health has not moved quickly enough to implement the medical marijuana program. Hundreds of Hurricane Maria evacuees living in hotels around the nation have been given more time to use temporary housing vouchers. A federal judge has extended a temporary restraining order allowing those evacuees to use the vouchers until August 7th. The evacuees have been living in hotels on the mainland since they fled the island after Hurricane Maria hit last September. Officials with FEMA said in a statement that participating hotels were being notified about that new extension. Well, if you're looking for a job in the Sunshine State, the Tampa Bay area is not a bad place to look. Today, Governor Rick Scott announcing that Tampa Bay has ranked second in Florida for job creation. With over 30,000 new jobs in the past year, the only area that beats it out in jobs is Orlando. The industries with the highest growth over the year in the Tampa Bay area were leisure and hospitality. Now we go live to Rebecca Fernandez in Northport, where a major event is taking place. Rebecca?
Well, today marked a significant milestone for the future Atlanta Braves spring training facility. I'll have that reason why coming up.
Plus, putting the rules of finders keepers to the test, Florida deputies search for a man who found and kept money left out at Walmart. And a close call in Florida, all caught on camera. The quick thinking that may have saved the life of an 8-month-old child.
Chris Domine is a husband, father, an athlete, even an Ironman. But 10 years ago, Chris's kidneys were failing.
The doctor said if you don't do dialysis, if you don't get a kidney transplant, you are going to die.
Then Chris received a second chance, made possible by an organ donor.
Your well-being changes from loss of hope to better times ahead.
Imagine what you could make possible. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system can make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, it would keep you up at night. Now SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. With its patented design, SoClean is fast, effective, and hands-free, killing 99.9% of all CPAP germs. Try SoClean now through this special TV offer free for 30 days. Just call 800-604-0398.
My health has improved. It's simple to use, and I'm not worried about infections.
SoClean works on all CPAP machines and popular masks, destroying CPAP bacteria, viruses, and germs without the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. Just place your mask in, close the lid, and in just minutes, voila, sanitized and ready to use. Try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. This is a limited time offer. Call now, 800-604-0398, or visit SoClean.com today.
Excuse me a minute. Hi, Dad. No, don't try to get up.
Hi, I'm Julie, a right-at-home caregiver. And if I'd been caring for Tom's dad, I would have noticed some dizziness that could lead to balance issues. That's because I'm trained to report any changes in behavior, no matter how small, so Tom could have peace of mind.
We'll be right there. We have to go.
Hey, Tom, you should try Right at Home. They're great for us.
The right care, right at home.
Growing up, my mom was afraid of the water, something she did not want me to feel.
So I enrolled Missy in swim lessons.
It changed my life.
Missy Franklin.
And now you can do the same for someone that you love.
There's nothing more precious than your child's well-being.
So act now, before it's too late.
Make us swim! I'm glad I did.
Thanks, Mom. Visit usaswimmingfoundation.org to find, get, or give a swim lesson.
My name is Julius. I have cerebral palsy. I work for Farmer Jeffrey Weising Law Firm. I do a lot of data entry and scanning documents. I want to increase my working experience to make the company much better. At the end of the day, it's good to think of the day's work and to think about what I have accomplished.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
The Atlanta Braves are one step closer to making Northport their new spring training home. Today marked a major milestone for the new facility. ABC 7's Rebecca Fernandez joins us live now from that construction site in the West Villages district with an update on the stadium's progress. Rebecca?
Adam, well, less than a year ago, this property had just been cleared and sat empty. But today, it's a very different story, and we're really starting to see this dream stadium become a reality. This morning, Northport celebrated the significant progress by hosting a ceremony to watch the installation of the last steel beam. This beam is the highest piece of steel on the stadium, and they brought it up with a grapefruit tree to signify the life of the $125 million project. This construction workers stood side by side with Sarasota County and Northport leaders and even officials from the team. And tonight at 6, I'll give you a closer look of the future ballpark, plus what local leaders have to say about this team coming to play on the Suncoast. Live in Northport, Rebecca Fernandez, ABC 7, your Suncoast News. Back to you.
Rebecca, thank you. Now to a story that may make you rethink the rules of finders keepers. Florida Sheriff's Office is now looking for this man who they say allegedly found and kept $100 left in a self-checkout register. It all happened earlier this month at a Walmart in Leon County. The victim tells deputies that that money left behind was an accident. Now they're asking the community to help them identify the culprit, but they may not get much cooperation from the public, many citing the finders keepers rule. So we posed the question to you all on our Facebook page. If you find money in a self-checkout machine, is it really stealing? Well, here's a few of those responses. Shannon says, quote, "It's not like he opened the register and stole it. It was left in the open. Is it morally wrong? Maybe, but not a theft where he should have his photo all over social media. It's no different than if he found it on the floor or in the parking lot." And Brenda says, quote, "If it's not yours and you take it, then you are a thief. He could have turned it in, and if it wasn't claimed, then after a certain amount of time, he would get it. It's amazing how many people don't worry about the hardship this may have caused." And Steve says, quote, "If I leave my car unlocked, I expect to get robbed. I forget $100, well, that's on me." Now, if you'd like to join this conversation, just head over to our Facebook page, mysuncoast.com/ABC7 and search for this story. Now to a new warning about hot car dangers with a scary close call all caught on camera. Take a look at this body cam footage of an officer responding to a Miami parking lot to a call that could have ended much differently. Luckily, thanks to the woman in the neon shirt that you just saw, it didn't. She spotted an 8-month-old baby left behind in a hot car and then took action, calling 911 until police and the baby's mother arrived. Take a look at that mom's tearful realization.
Yes, he's okay. I know. You're welcome.
I work in the emergency department. I'm a nurse, and I hear these stories. I have 4 kids, and I always think, how could that possibly ever happen?
Well, hot car deaths are a consistent problem not only here in the Sunshine State but across the country. According to the safety organization Kids in Cars, an average of 37 children die each year in hot cars, something certainly to keep in mind in these hot days of summer. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan for a look at our first alert forecast. Bob?
Yeah, and it is hot right now. The heat index at 100 degrees at the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport, and a lot of folks out on area beaches looking out for the possibility of rip currents out there as well. And the USA Junior National Beach Championships are taking place, volleyball out on Siesta Key, and the waves have been fairly high there. Again, as I mentioned, they're only going to stay that way too through the weekend. There were a lot of people on the beach today as well, and it looks as though we are going to continue to see some pretty heavy waves, I think, right through the weekend. You see the red flag going there at the guard tower, indicating the high surf and rip current potential out on Siesta Key. Let's get to the map and show you what's happening with Casey Key right now. Casey Key is showing the wave action there too pretty high. We are looking at the potential for some isolated showers developing as well, and it looks as though those storms will continue to roll in from the Gulf of Mexico on a strong west to southwest winds. I mentioned the dangerous rip currents possible. On top of that, some heavy rain at times. The atmosphere is really juiced up right now. On top of that, we have the stormy patterns sticking around through most of next week. Now, I think we'll eventually get back to those afternoon and evening thunderstorms, but not until Friday. So Friday is when that will happen. But until then, look for this west wind, persistent west wind. And I think these showers will only get heavier at times. Now, it's not going to be an all-day rain event, but these will continue to develop and roll on shore. They have an all-day rain event taking place north of Interstate 4 right now. But for us, we're seeing these storms get a little bit more intense. Some rain on Longboat Key, also just north of University on I-75. Heavy weather getting ready to move into Anna Maria Island right now. And just near Clark Road in I-75, a brief shower. Luckily, there hasn't been a whole lot of lightning with these cells. They don't have a chance to really develop that far up into the atmosphere, but the rain's pretty heavy now east of the Gulf Gate near Palmer Ranch and heading off again further inland. The rain was fairly brief there at the Point of Rocks just a few minutes ago. Not much rain to south, Venice, Northport, Inglewood, but the problem they're having is the west wind bringing all the harmful impacts of the red tide, which still is very strong from Venice southward through Charlotte County, even into Lee County for that matter. A lot of moisture around, and that moisture is going to be here with us too on Saturday and Sunday. And what that means is the storms that pop up will produce rainfall rates up to 2 to 3 inches an hour. When that comes down like that, visibility's dropped to near zero on the interstates, so keep that in mind as well. This low pressure area tracks to the north, and it causes all sorts of headaches in the Carolinas over the weekend. We'll get this trailing trough, if you will, hanging right over north central Florida, an old frontal boundary there, and little pieces of energy moving by that will keep us in a pretty good chance for showers scattered about on Saturday and even into Sunday. The rain chances staying fairly elevated. And then this low pressure that caused the tornadoes in Iowa yesterday is going to drop to the south and actually increase our chances for showers and storms here along the west coast of Florida on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Where it's been raining, you would guess it's cooler. 76 now in Jacksonville, 87 in our area, the heat index up to 100, 89 in downtown Sarasota, 88 Gulf of Mexico temperature, and 91 now in Arcadia, and 89 in Northport. Well, the boating forecast, not the best, but no advisories at this point. We'll keep an eye on that. Southwest winds at 15 knots. Seas will be building 2 to 3 feet with a moderate chop on the bays and inland waters. Expect the rip currents and the possibility of scattered storms. The forecast then checks out like this. Pretty active shower and thunderstorm pattern right on in through the period there. At 60 to 70% right through Wednesday of next week. We start to get back to more afternoon and evening storms on Thursday and Friday. Now, you know I've been talking about the weather app most of this time, but now we're going to talk about what you can do on Facebook, not Facebook, but mysuncoast.com. Right there, you go to our weather page, you have access to interactive radar. interactive radar, and an hourly forecast as well. We have an update there. John and I and Wendy, we all update that and kind of give a little synopsis of what we expect the weather to be over the next several days. On top of that, you get the option to download the apps there. If you haven't been able to find them in your store, you just go there, click on those icons, and you can download the news app and the weather app. And those will be valuable tools that you'll have right at the right at your hand, right at your fingertips, you know, in your pocket, in your car, when you're not near a TV. It's a good thing to do.
There you go. Thank you very much, Bob. And from the wet conditions here to the dry conditions out west, firefighters in California battling a smoky and fast-moving brush fire in the hillsides west of Corona. You can take a look here at some of the aerial footage of that blaze. You can see those flames making their way through the trees. This fire, dubbed the Skyline Fire, is between 50 and 75 acres, according to fire officials.
And you know, the fires have been very prevalent out west due to a high-pressure ridge. It's not moving much. They're going to stick around for the next, looks like a couple of weeks. That high pressure not moving much at all. Mandatory evacuations are underway already as this fire is burning near a hiking trail at the Cleveland National Forest and moving now toward homes. And we're going to turn now to those tornadoes. I talked about it yesterday. Tornado watch was in effect for most of Iowa, and there have been some impressive videos of numerous tornadoes moving through the heartland, injuring multiple people. At this point, 17 people have been injured as a result of that.
That's right. And just take a look at some of that devastation. After more than 24 tornadoes were reported in Iowa, the fierce winds knocking down a courthouse tower, also debris circling through the air as that storm spirals across a road. Another cyclone leaving this trail of wreckage at a factory plant in Iowa and injuring 7 people, and you can really see that devastation from the aerial footage there, Bob, of the aftermath.
It's a real kind of unusual thing too to have tornadoes in Iowa at this time of year. This storm system is causing tornado possibility now in Ohio and Indiana, so they're under a tornado watch, and there are some tornado warnings going on there now.
All right, well, coming up here on ABC 7, a warning for parents of children playing online games, a scam you need to know about, and ways to keep your loved ones safe.
I'm Stephanie Roberts. Coming up Monday morning at 9 on Suncoast View, this season's Bachelorette is breaking hearts very close to home. We'll chat with one of the contestants who lives in St. Pete and get all the juicy behind-the-scenes secrets. Then we'll dance to the beat with Zumba Sarasota and get a great workout at the same time. It's all coming up Monday at 9 a.m.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TruStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
Tonight on ABC 7 News at 7.
President Putin, he just said it's not Russia. I will say this, I don't see any reason why it would be.
The sentence should have been, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be Russia.
President Trump clarifying his statements about Russia interference, then clarifies his clarification. I'm Alan Cohn, a trapezoid you wouldn't want to miss.
Tonight on ABC 7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind Your Meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
WWSB ABC 7 is an equal opportunity employer, and we're looking for qualified people to join our dynamic team. For a list of current openings and to apply online, visit www.mysuncoast.com/contact/employment. If you're a motivated team player and you want a rewarding career in a fun, fast-paced working environment, WWSB ABC 7 could be the perfect fit for you. Check out our list of openings now.
A decade of war has taken an unprecedented toll on our men and women in uniform.
Hundreds of thousands of our veterans are suffering from the trauma of war.
At Justice for Vets, we believe that every veteran should have the opportunity for treatment and restoration.
Get involved and go to justiceforvets.org.
Help put treatment within reach of veterans in crisis.
Veterans fought for our freedom. Now it's our turn to fight for theirs.
A warning today for parents of children playing online games. One family sharing their discovery that scammers used the popular game Fortnite to trick their teenager into revealing personal login information. The competitive shooting game allows players to play online over a headset with friends or strangers. This 13-year-old spent over $300 of his own money on items in the game. Recently, another gamer convinced the teen to give him his username and password with the promise that the gamer would give him more. That's where the problem started. And since mom Amy's credit card number was attached to the game, the scammer had access to that personal information for purchases within the program. A recall alert you need to know about this afternoon. A new nationwide salmonella outbreak could be linked to raw turkey, and some cases were found right here in Florida. The CDC says the outbreak has already made 90 people sick. 40 of those were hospitalized. Officials have reported cases in 26 states since November, but they have not been able to find a direct source. The meat was purchased from many different locations and in different forms, including ground turkey, turkey pieces, and whole turkeys. Well, we're just getting started. Adam is in the newsroom with a quick look at just some of the stories we're working for you tonight. Adam?
Thank you, Jacqueline. Concerns over the speed limit at a Venice school coming up at 5. What the current limit is and why parents are pushing for it to be changed. Plus, coming up at 6, a Sarasota cemetery restored. A look at the before and after. And coming up at 7, an exclusive interview with Democratic gubernatorial candidate Chris King. And now let's take it back to Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan for another look at weather. Bob?
Thanks, Adam. We're watching a storm system developing now and moving along the Mid-Atlantic coast states. It's going to cause all sorts of headaches for travelers as a result of flight delays. And you can see we've had some pretty heavy rainfall to the north of us. That low pressure center continues to cause some stronger winds out of the west, and that west wind is causing some windy weather. On top of that, the potential for some dangerous rip currents here to develop along area beaches. Right now, the rain is coming down fairly heavy near Anna Maria Island and near Longboat Key. Had a brief shower move on through there. You can see that rain moving pretty quickly, though, off to the east, but it is set up to go over the same place periodically over the next hour or so, right there on Longboat Key and Anna Maria Island. So you could see some potential for some localized street flooding because the rain is coming down fairly heavy at this point. Well, much more in our forecast coming up at 5. Jacqueline?
All right, thank you, Bob, and thank you for joining us at ABC 7 News at 4. We'll see you back here at 5 o'clock.